So you may have experienced this situation. You're an upper elementary teacher sitting in a faculty meeting, and your administration informs you that you are required to start using Daily 5 this year. You get your Daily 5 book in your cafe book and you start reading through everything, and this thought keeps popping into your head that this is for primary grades. This isn't for me as an upper elementary teacher. I have been in your shoes, but I can tell you that after attending the Daily 5 conference, I have had several years of great experiences using Daily 5 in my upper elementary classroom, and I want to help you do the same. Hi, I'm Megan Vestal from Vestal's 21st Century Classroom, and let's get started learning how to use Daily 5 in upper elementary. As an upper elementary teacher, the one thing I didn't like about Daily 5 when I first read the book was that I didn't feel like the 5 rotations applied to my 4th and 5th grade students. Read with a partner and listen to reading both felt unnecessary because my students had already developed fluency skills. So as I started implementing Daily 5, it just felt very shaky because I wasn't sure what to do with those 2 stations. Shortly after I started using Daily 5, I got to attend the Daily 5 conference, and the one thing I learned from the authors of the Daily 5 is that Daily 5 should look different in every single classroom based on the needs of the students. And you don't even have to use 5 stations if all 5 stations aren't necessary. When I heard that, that was a huge relief to me. And I changed Daily 5 to Daily 3. So in my upper elementary classroom, we only practice read to self, word work, and work on writing. So now I'm going to break down those 3 stations and tell you a little bit about how I make those work in my classroom. Now, read to self is exactly what it sounds. It's a time for students to sit quietly and read to themselves, and this is a time to help students develop a love for reading. Now, some ways to make sure that students stay on task during this time are 1, to make sure you have cozy areas of the room where students can space out and read without distractions. And 2, make sure that your students have their books easily available to them. The best way to do that is by having students create book boxes or book bins. I purchase inexpensive, easy to assemble ones on Amazon, and I'm going to put the link to that in the product description below, and I allow students to decorate those book bins at the beginning of the year. Then, students are required to have a minimum of 3 reading resources in their book bins at all times, and it doesn't have to be books. It can be magazines, it can be articles that they've printed off the internet, it can be picture books, it can be novels, but they always have to have 3 reading resources in those book bins at all time. So that way when they sit down to read to self, they just get their book bin and their books are ready to go. All right, now let's talk about word work. It's easy to assume that word work just applies to primary students as well and getting students to learn how to spell. But word work is actually very relevant to upper elementary and is a great opportunity to help students practice expanding their vocabularies. Now, I want to show you a few word work activities that you can incorporate into that center. One of the easiest word work tools you can create are bottle caps. You only need 3 things to create this tool. You need the caps from water and soda bottles, you need the round sticky dots, and you need a permanent marker. Now, what you do is you just write letters on the sticky dots with your permanent marker. Now keep in mind that there are certain letters that students are going to use more. They're going to use more vowels, they're going to use more S's, and probably T's compared to things like Y and Z. So create more of the letters that the students are going to use. After you have written the letters on the sticky dots, just put the sticky dots on the inside of the bottle caps. And these create something very similar to Scrabble pieces. Now, you may be wondering, how do I get enough bottle caps for my students to have enough to use? It's actually very simple. Put a bin in your teacher's lounge, asking teachers to throw their empty water and soda bottles in there. You can also ask family members to collect things at their jobs, but I accumulated hundreds in literally a very short amount of time. Now, let's talk about some ways that you can use those bottle caps. Now, as I said, the bottle caps are very similar to Scrabble pieces. So you can have students play a simple game of Scrabble using the bottle caps. Students start with a certain number of bottle caps and they try to make words that build onto each other with the caps. Every time they use letters, they get to pour more caps from the bag until there's no more caps left. Another game that you can play with students involves the bottle caps and the timer. Set a timer for 1 to 2 minutes and have students pull a certain number of bottle caps from the bag. I usually say between 6 and 8. Then, during that time frame, students have to create as many words as possible using only the letters that they pulled from the bag. Now, I usually allow students to award points based on the length of the words that they spell. So 3-letter words would be worth 3 points, 4-letter words would be worth 4 points, etc. These are just a few great activities that you can use at a WordWork Center. If you are looking for even more WordWork activities, make sure to check out my WordWork resource for upper elementary, which is linked in the description below. This comes with more than 20 WordWork activities and center cards that you can use. Last, let's talk about Work on Writing. Work on Writing is a great time for students to improve their writing skills and to hopefully develop a love for writing in the process. Now, at a Work on Writing station, it is important for students to have lots of resources for writing and lots of writing prompts to choose from. In my 4th grade writing prompts, I provide tons of writing prompts that students can choose from throughout the year. These are included digitally, on worksheets, and on task cards. Another thing that I recommend all teachers have at a Work on Writing station is class journals. At my Work on Writing station, I have about 20 class journals for students to pick from. A class journal has a writing prompt on the front, such as write a review of your favorite book or tell about a family member that you love. And in that class journal, students are expected to write 1 to 2 paragraphs in response to the prompt. Then other students can go in and also respond to the prompt. So it provides a fun way for the teacher and the students to get to know each other. I also, as the teacher, like to go into these class journals and leave comments and responses to the different things that students write about. I hope these tips and suggestions help you get started using Daily 5, or Daily 3 as I like to call it, in your upper elementary classroom. As I mentioned before, if you are looking for more suggestions for how to use Daily 5, make sure to check out my Daily 5 resource in the product description. This comes with WordWork and Work on Writing activities. It also provides an outline of how to keep Daily 5 organized in your classroom and to make it run smoothly. Last, I want to know, are you an upper elementary teacher using Daily 5 in your classroom? If you are, comment below, tell me what is working really well for you, and if you are and you're struggling, tell me that too, so that way we can all help each other. I'm Megan Vestal from Vestal's 21st Century Classroom, and I'll see you real soon.